Hey guys, welcome back to Fishing with Nordby. Out here at this little pond today, I want to teach you guys something about fishing for panfish. One of the most common questions I get asked a lot, whether fishing for crappie, fishing for bluegill, is how do I fish for them and what do I use, a jig or a minnow? Two most popular things you use for panfish. So typically I like using a jig. The reason why is because you don't have to switch out a minnow every time you catch a fish, and you can catch tons of fish on that same jig before it gets torn up, and it's cheap, doesn't cost as much as a minnow for how many fish you get, but sometimes they just won't hit it. Positives to using a minnow: it's more realistic, they cannot pass it up, but downside, it sits in the same spot. You have to put a new one on about every time you catch a fish, and you have to go buy them, keep them alive. Sometimes they die on you, and a lot of times the fish won't even bite them when they're dead sitting on the hook. You have to have one that's moving. So with that jig you can constantly move it, but with the minnow it's sitting there and you got to really pay attention to your bait, make sure it's staying alive and getting you bites. So we're out here at the pond today. I got two poles with me, one rigging up with a little jig, I'll show it to you here in a second. The other we're rigging up with a minnow. I'll show you the rigs I'm using and the best way to catch these panfish. We're gonna be catching crappie today, maybe some bluegill, maybe some shell crackers. We'll just see. There's some giants in this pond. I'm excited to get started. It's a beautiful spring summer day here in May. Weather's warm. It's just beautiful, guys. The fish are spawning, or they just spawned, and they're feeding. So we're gonna get in there and get after them. Wherever you're at in the country, when the water gets about 70 degrees, fish just get really active. So I recommend you getting out there, doing some fishing, enjoy the weather, enjoy catching these fish. We're gonna catch and release them today. A lot of times you can take them home, flay them up. These are great fish to eat, but let's get out there, catch them. All right, so first off, I'm gonna go ahead and rig up the little live bait rig. Got a tiny little hook here, tiny little bullet weight split shot, and a cork, a minnow cork. And we're gonna be using these tiny little chubs today. I actually have my bait net with me so I can get them easier. Scoop a couple of these up. Look at them, beautiful. I'm gonna take one of these and I'm gonna rig him on this hook so that he can swim around freely. There we go. I'm just going to go through his lips, keep him alive, just like that. And it's probably about 3-4 foot deep out there. And you can see down 1.5 feet or so. So I'm going to put it 2 feet deep. I'm going to just cast it out there, let it sit. Okay, now we're going to cast around the jig while that's sitting out there. See if we get any bites on the jig, see what they bite first. For my jig, got this tiny little 1/32 ounce head, blackened chartreuse, paired with another little cork. I'm gonna try to fish the same areas with the jig and the minnow at the same time. See what works better. Slowly reeling the jig. That minnow's down there doing its thing. Gotta keep this jig moving. Oh, had a little bite already. No bites on the minnow yet. Oh, the minnow just got taken, guys. Bobber's under. Oh yeah, we got us a fish. Oh yeah, look at that. First crappie of the day. Let's go. Got in all them weeds. Look at that, guys. Beautiful slab. He swallowed it. Ate that whole thing. So get my pliers out here. Gotta have your pliers to get these hooks out when they swallow it down deep like that. There we go. Got it. Not bad. Probably 9 inches. See ya. There we go. First fish of the day came on the minnow. We're gonna put another one on. All right. Doing the same thing, hook him right through the lips, bottom and out the top. We're gonna cast him out there, same spot, let him sit. Usually when you find one crappie, there's more sitting right there with him. Gonna set that down, cast out your jig. Oh gosh, minnow just went under, guys. Oh, smoked it, whatever it is. Fighting hard. Man. Oh, he really wanted that. Oh my gosh, it is a big old bluegill. Wow. Look at the size of that. That's a shell cracker. Oh my gosh, that thing is huge, guys. Huge. He swallowed it too. That thing's as big as my hand. Giant shell cracker. These would all make a good meal. But I'm throwing them back today. I'll quit it, as Richard Jean would say. Man, that's a big one. All right, see ya. Wow. So far the minnows are up 2-0. That's crazy. Let's get another one. This guy right here is probably the fattest chub I caught. Oh, about got off. Caught all my bait today that I'm using, guys. A lot of times you can go around the edges of these ponds, take you a dip net like this one I've been getting them out of there with, and you'll see little minnows swimming around. Just dip net them and throw them in a bucket, and you have your bait. Don't have to go buy it. And for backup, you can always bring jigs like this. Okay, that was awesome. All right, 2-0. We're gonna keep going with this jig though. I normally catch a bunch on a jig, but I'm wanting the minnow today. Oh my gosh, bobber just went under. It's back up though. It's back up. It's bobbing still. Something hit it. I don't think he's on there. He ain't on there. He hit it though. The reason I know my minnow's still alive is because I see that bobber moving, so I know he didn't get it. Minnow's still trying to swim around. There's one. Okay, hooking up. Another crappie. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Jig, put one up for the jig. We got 3 bites so far on the jig, 3 bites on the minnows, and so far 2 fish on the minnow, 1 on the jig. Nice crappie. See ya. Let's get another. That's kind of a small one. Big ones are in here. We just gotta find them. No more hits. We're gonna go over here to the right in front of these weeds in the shade. Try the minnow over there. I've been casting the crappie jig over there. No more hits yet. Bobber just went under, guys. Oh yeah. What do we got? Notice when I'm setting the hook, fishing with minnows, I'm not really setting the hook. I'm just reeling. That's all you need to do to set the hook. Otherwise, these fish, a lot of times these tiny little hooks, you pull it right out of their mouth. There we go. Look at that. That's a good size one there. Oh man. He gave me my minnow back. He's dead, but I might cast him out there again. Look at that. Pretty little crappie. 9-10 inches. See? Boom. Okay guys, so far we've caught 3 on the minnow, only 1 on the jig. Got them both sitting out here right now, but so far they've hit the minnow more than the jig. And that's 3 crappie, 1 bluegill. We're gonna keep going at them. Kind of tiny crappie, but big old bluegill, shell cracker. There's giants in here. We're gonna try to find them. We're gonna keep going. I've been trying to cast in the same areas with both the jig and the minnow at the same time. But what's nice about the jig, I'm gonna start casting into different areas while that minnow's sitting out there. See if I can find where they're at, because the downside of that minnow is it just sits in that one spot. You gotta keep reeling it in, recasting it, let it sit for a few minutes till you know if they're there or not. So that's what's nice about the jig. Let's get back at them. There's one. Smoked it right on the edge of the grass there. Oh, he's fighting hard. Oh my goodness sakes. Wow. Look at that. That is such a giant shell cracker. That's bigger than the last one, guys. Absolute monster. Wow, so big. That's so fun. Things like 10, maybe more inches. Easily lip him. Look at that. So fat, pretty. The colors are just vibrant in that. That thing is beautiful. Just a giant shell cracker. Whew. Gonna get a slow-mo release on this dude. All right, see you, buddy. That was a big one. Wow. So we're catching both crappie and bluegill on the little jig. But so far, the minnow's winning 3-2. Big old bluegill and shell crackers in this pond. That's awesome. There's one. Smoked it. The good thing about this jig is if they quit biting in that spot, you can keep casting it around till you find them. And sure enough, that one was way over there. Nice bluegill. See ya. Let's see if we can get another one. Back-to-back casts over there. If so, I'm gonna move the minnow over there as well. But that was a decent bluegill. 3-3. Just cast the minnow over there. Did not get another bite on the jig. We'll see if it picks up any. There's one. Crappie. Tiny little guy. Oh, another one for the jig. Okay. Jig is loading up on him right now. My minnow's in the same area over here. They're just hitting the jig. There's another one. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Another one on the jig. Boom. And what's super nice about the jig, I already said it, you don't have to put a new minnow on, a new jig on every time you catch a fish. Super nice about the jig. Oh shoot. Minnow's under. Minnow's under, guys. Oh yeah. Let's go. Feels like a good one. Been catching tiny ones on the jig over there. See the minnow over there? That's a bigger one. Just kidding. He's not that much bigger. Nice little guy. Swallowed it. Swallowed it. There we go. Would not have got that out without pliers. Okay. Put one more minnow on. There's one. Oh, he got off. That fish actually hit my bobber before he hit my bait. I need to get out here and use some topwater flies maybe for these panfish. It's fun catching them on topwater flies on the fly rod. If you haven't done it, I got some videos on that, but we'll make some more here. There we go. Oh my gosh. They're hitting the jig like crazy, guys. Minnow's just sitting over there. They're not touching it. They're munching the jig. I missed the last two though. Oh, no, another bite, guys. I don't know what's going on. Tiny little mouths, tiny little jig. I'm probably hooking them just a little too hard. My bass fishing self, all I really need to do is just reel in and it'll hook them. So I'll do that on this next one here. Yep, see that? All I did was reel in. I hooked him. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, good bluegill. Good bluegill on the jig. Man, that's a good color jig. It catches everything. See ya. Okay guys, just getting done for the day. The fish really wanted that jig. And they ate it while I was reeling it just a little faster than I normally like to. They're active today with a little warmer weather, bright sun coming down on us, and they were really wanting that jig. My minnow's sitting out there. I got some bigger bites on the minnow, I think, but I don't know, I caught a giant bluegill on that jig, and it's just fun. So I recommend using the jig if you haven't tried it. I'll link the setup I was using the cork, the split shot, and the jig head and the tube jig. There's 4 pieces to this setup, as well as the rod and reels. I'll link them all down below, and I'll link my minnow setup as well, so you guys can try it out wherever you're at in the country on your lake or pond and catch some of these panfish. They're great to eat. Take them home, flay them up. If you haven't seen any of my catch and cook episodes on how to flay them and cook them, make sure you go check them out. I have a bluegill playlist, a crappie playlist, and plenty of bass playlists if you haven't seen my videos before. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this crappie versus jig episode and learned a little something along the way. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not. We'll catch you next time here on Fishing with Nordby.